Hello, everybody. Jordan DeCary here. Episode number 5 of At the Apex. Last week, we had the CSBK Amateur Sport Bike Champion, Laurent La Liberté Girard. This week, from Saint Eustache, Quebec, the Shaker. Two-time CSBK Pro Sport Bike Champion, Sebastien Tremblay. And if you didn't know where the name Shaker came from, Sebastien told me. It's simple. My last name, Tremblay, translated loosely, means tremble or shaker. Who knew? Super excited to have Sebastien on the show today. We talk about his successes in 2024. We talk about ST Motorsport, his own brand, his own company. And we talk about 2025. Thank you so much for all of the support. I really appreciate it very much. We're going to continue to bring awesome riders, awesome people that make this sport awesome. While I have your attention, please like this video, share it, and subscribe. All right, welcome everybody. Episode number 5 of At the Apex with 2024 CSBK Sport Bike Champion, Sebastien Tremblay. Sebastien, welcome to At the Apex. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Jordan.
It's certainly exciting to have someone so prestigious as yourself on the podcast here. It's pretty exciting for us. Sebastien, you had a very successful, would we call it a development season? Is that right to say for 2024?
I think it's development. For sure, I've been working at those races for a while, so I know my tricks around the racetrack. So it's not really development, but it was the first full year with the G6R 750, and we really wanted to have good setups, mostly everywhere. So we really worked hard on finding stuff everywhere. So we're ready for 2025 for sure.
So in 2023, you made the switch from Kawasaki to Suzuki. So you did some of the season on a 600 and then the latter half of the season moved to the 750. So last year, first full year on that 750.
Yeah, 2023, we didn't start the year at Shannonville. We missed the first round. So we started with the 600, but it was announced that the 750 will be allowed at the last round, which is Shannonville. So after Motorsport, basically. So we run the 600 earlier in the year in 2023 and jumping on the 750 at the last round. But we didn't practice with the 750. There was no Thursday practice, so it was kind of like very different bike. We thought it would be closer than that, but we had our run for the money for sure.
And it's funny, every time I sent you a message to see how things were going, you'd send me a picture and I would look and say, that looks significantly different than last time, whether it was gearing, suspension, something. The bike looked different almost every time I spoke with you. Uh, Based on all of your testing over the year, I know you were trying a ton of different things. How do you feel? Do you feel like you're prepared for 2025? Do you feel like you have a really good, a base of data for 2025?
Oh, for sure, yeah. Compared to to last year, we're a lot more ready for each other racetrack, and we're going back to every racetrack we went this year. So we've got a pretty good setup, and we know what kind of pace we're able to run, and we have some idea of where we can find more speedy as well. So no, we think we're ready for the challenge today this year.
That's interesting that you say that you think there's more speed. Looking at some of those lap times, it's pretty incredible to see just how close this new generation bike is to the super bikes. Do you feel like you can, be competitive in both classes? I know you threw your hat in a couple of races into the superbike class as well. Is that dependent on the racetrack, or do you feel like you can further develop this bike and be competitive in that superbike class as well?
Uh, I really wish I could be competitive in Superbike. Like lap time wise, it doesn't look all that bad, but when you're racing superbike, it's kind of difficult. When you're at the back of the field, it's not all that much of a problem. But once you get up front with the a machine that's a lot less power like this, it's really difficult to get through superbike. Like I can get around one superbike and pull away before the straightaway, but if there's two guys in front of me, I just can't do it. So it's very frustrating. So I'm kind of like hesitating because it's like I want to do it because it's fun. I can push hard as well, but in the same time, there's a lot of frustration because I know I can do better, but I can't because I'm stuck like in the middle of a group. So it's kind of like based on which track I can do, which track I think I can do. But we have a plan this year of making it with a super bike. So we'll see about that.
Okay, that's pretty exciting. Are there any specifics that you can talk about, or is that everything kind of under wraps right now?
For sure, the season's still season's closed, but there's a lot of things that can change. But for now, we've got an old GSXR 1000 because I was uh, in the middle of thinking of building a 750 just for superbike, but I won't be able to use it in 600, and it will be so different anyway that it's not going to be the same as my 715 sport bike. So I just figured like I could buy a bike that's pretty similar specs. So we got a 2008 GSXR 1000, which was from an old factory bike. So the motor is a lot stronger than 750, and the technology is about the same as what I'm riding as well. It's just more power. So with Motorspec, we're able to follow chassis as well. So we know what we like and how to manage it. So we should be able to be more competitive than with the 750. Most power in better lap time as well. So we'll see how that turn out. But I'm not. It's not the championship I want to like do all around. But I want to go and have fun with these guys as well.
So you're saying a 2008. So I'm just thinking back to what technology was available in 2008 on this superbike. No traction control, no anti-squat, no wheelie control, ABS, none of that stuff.
No, it's not all in in the throttle, but it's like on our 750, it's the same technology as well. So if I build a 170 or a horsepower 750, it's going to be the same. I won't be able to put traction control on that bike, but I'm not sure how long it's going to last anyway. So we're not really inclined about putting like tens of thousands in an engine that we don't know how long it's going to last. And that 1000 was pretty cheap to buy. So I don't really care if anything happened to it. So that's a good part about it as well. So I'm not going for the championship. I'm not going to win races. I'm mostly there because I want to improve myself and I want to enjoy riding bike, basically.
Absolutely. Okay, that's pretty cool. So we'll look for you as a as a wild card in some races, perhaps on the superbike. That's pretty cool. Back to the 750 program. Is there anything this year that you are looking to focus on specifically? Like, is there any one piece that you're looking to fine tune?
Not exactly. We're always trying stuff. Like we're learning what the bike like, what the bike doesn't. And each track is different, so it's kind of like starting over every racetrack. We've got a baseline of what we want to get, but from there we're trying to move and and improve on that basically. So we've got a couple idea of here and there to try some stuff. I won't be discussing because it's kind of like out of like it's not something usual, so it's still legal, but it's some stuff I'm really inclined to trying. So we're gonna try a lot of stuff this year as well.
That's interesting that you say that because I mean there's even on the broadcast, the TSN broadcast, some of the announcers are mentioning that you sometimes try things that are, maybe unconventional and is that For you, is that helpful to maybe go out, think outside the box and try these things because you never know what you may find?
Yeah, but that is exactly what it is. It's like you you want to try stuff, so you know how the bikes react. You know what it like what creates speed and what doesn't. And sometimes you can. It's not about creating speed, but it's about creating a bike that's easier to ride or manage the tire better and stuff like that. So it's always good to try new stuff and see how the bikes react. So yeah, I like it.
Very cool. Sebastian, can we talk a little bit more about your 2024 season and the success that you had? What do you think was the maybe the turning point in the season where you felt to yourself maybe, or maybe you didn't, that you had it, locked down? Like, did you ever feel that you had, the season wrapped up?
Uh, I won't say felt like it was wrapped up because there's a lot of stuff that can happen, and two race a weekend every weekend is like you can damage a championship pretty easily. But by Shubenacadie, I won't say it was like cruise control, but it was like okay, I can start and relax and I won't say think more about winning races because that was always the goal. We had some unfortunate thing that happened at Edmonton that kind of screwed my race weekend there and a little bit at Shubenacadie as well. But you know, we managed to be to come out on top. Yeah.
And you mentioned, you had some things happen. Are you referring to the shoulder injury
Yeah,
and how are you feeling now? Are you back 100% now?
yeah, it's 100%. It it's basically I injured myself a couple like about 10 years ago. I dislocated my shoulder, so it's getting easier to dislocate. And on our trip down to Edmonton, it probably popped out while I was sleeping in the RV and never felt it. Like because like when it's moved, it goes at the front, and I don't feel it. It's not painful. The only time I will feel it is if I try to do push up or if I raise my hand really high. So unfortunately, I didn't feel it, and I rode the Thursday practice with my dislocated shoulder, and that was a problem. It's not that it was dislocated; it's that I rode with it dislocated. That damaged everything, and that really impacted a couple of the whole weekend basically. Yeah.
Yeah, we saw some pictures of your shoulder taped up and, you're definitely, you could tell that you were maybe not riding to your full potential. So it was kind of damage control at that point. Now, I want to talk about some of your choices. We had a lot of weird weather in 2024 where races could have gone either way. And do you think you gambled on some of those? And how did those gambles pay off?
Well, there's was just mostly one game ball, but yeah, at Mossport on the Sunday it was raining, but it really drying quickly, and I knew, but my rain setup is not ideal, and my experience in the rain with the Bridgestone tire was very limited because last year I crashed twice in like 2 laps, so was kind of like I'm not sure I can win the race, so we're going for a race win. Well, I don't want to finish third or fourth on a race, so I really thought there was something to be won with slick tires, and I'm confident I would have been very close to it if not done it having the whole race. But unfortunately, by a lap, like 5 laps from the end, uh, we got stopped with rain, so it stopped there. So I finished 11th at Mossport on Sunday, but I was gaining like a lot of times on them. Every lap, I was like gaining 1 more second, so I was like 3 seconds faster by that time, but probably would have gone to 6 or maybe 7 seconds faster by the end of the race. So it's like yes, it's 30 seconds to gain, but every single lap you're gaining a lot. So it was kind of a end game because we're not. I don't like to plan on red flag and stuff like that. I plan my stuff for full distance. So yeah, full distance, I still think I would have got it though. But that's one of the gamble I took. Fortunately for me, 11 was enough for me to win the championship on that day. So it relieves a lot of pressure for Shannonville next round.
I do remember watching the live timing and I sent you a message there afterward. I'm like, man, if you had, the full race distance, it would have been quite the show for sure.
Yeah. But I have a pretty good story with that though,
Okay.
because when it started raining, but like Mossport, it's very big, so it rained in one spot and it doesn't rain anywhere else. And I started feeling a couple spot like at the end of the back straightaway, wide open. And as soon as I release the throttle, it's like water wall. Like it's soaking wet everywhere. So you can imagine on slick, there's water everywhere. I'm trying to brake and downshift the rear, just stepping out. So I have to release the brake. But I was always almost coming in there as if it was dry, like a couple of meters, but just to make sure. But we were getting pretty quick there. So seeing the wall coming to me this fast and trying to manage the corner and like give me space, trying to turn the bike so I don't go straight was kind of like very, very special. It's a special moment. I have a lot of stress, but I made it through the corner and like for me the race was ended there, and they red flagged the race. So it was okay because everybody's starter was done and stuff like that. But it was kind of quite a sketchy situation. I would not want to be in there again for sure.
And it's funny you say that. I mean, we've seen people make those decisions, those race time decisions where they have their B bike set up, in the pit. They come in from their warm up or their sighting lap, and then they hop on, a different bike with different tires, and we've seen that pay off, right? So I don't think it was I don't think it was a bad decision. It was just, it luck didn't go your way that race, and you were certainly making a push, and it was quite the comeback. So it was exciting to see. Sebastian, I see just over your shoulder there. I see a bike on is it a oh yeah, let's have a look there. Okay, so it's the trainer.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about the how about the whole ST Motorsport brand? I'm wearing the hat. I see you're wearing the hat today.
Yeah.
I'm supporting your the people that help make this sport better. Can you tell us how ST Motorsport came to be, and some of the services you offer, and that kind of thing?
Yeah. Well, SD Motorsport starting as I want to go races and then I want to ask to go race. So I close the shop and I go. So that's why I started SD Motorsport. So I could basically take off day without having pressure not to go there. So that's the main thing why I started it is I really wanted to go racing as much as I could. For sure, financial parts play a big thing as well. Uh, I won't say it's easier. It's different. It's a lot of work for sure. I work extremely hard. It's very rewarding, but during the summer it's very 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 busy. Uh, we started having the simulator about 3 years ago, I believe. I'm not pushing it as much as I used to because I'm still very busy, but it's still available. It's just I don't really market it as much as I would like to. But it's a very good tools because there's a lot of stuff we do on the bike that's very difficult to learn and teach basically on the racetrack because like you don't have as the movement because if the bike is standing on the stand, it's not like there's no movement on the bike, so it's difficult to practice stuff. And if you go on the racetrack, the coach is like 15 meters behind you. He's not telling you anything while you ride. And after the session, he's going to tell you some stuff, but you're going to have another 30 to 45 minutes before trying it out. So it's very long process to to change bad habits. On the simulator, it's very easy for us to change bad habits because like the coach is right beside you. Uh, I can I can figure out a lot of stuff on how you position yourself or what you do on the bike. That's that's I won't say not correct, but not optimal. And you can feel the difference very easily on the simulator because we can replicate it like very fast. So you can feel how you change your body position and how you grab the bike, how you use your hand when the bike's moving around. If you're not holding properly with your leg, you can hold yourself with the arm. We see that on the simulator, and we can fix some of the stuff that's very difficult to understand on the racetrack. So it's a very good tool. And once you learn how to handle yourself, we see a lot of what you do with your hand, how you handle the throttle, the brake, and a lot of it's like there's a lot of stuff happening on the race bike, and like the concentration it takes to ride the bike. If you can lower the amount of concentration it takes, you have a lot more for what's coming in front of you. So like if you miss a downshift, like your head is very busy trying to figure out what to do and not on the, so every time you've got something dialed in your habits, you've got more concentration for getting faster, basically. So
And it's really cool. You can, repetition is what builds that confidence, right? So it's cool that you're able to replicate, those same movements over and over again. And then you have somebody such as yourself standing, there watching and being able to correct it right away if it's something that's a really cool tool that you have available. So are there specific tracks that people can ride?
uh, it's not every track that's fun and works well with the simulator. So we've got one track that we use, and it's basically just to put people in action, basically. So it's not really useful. It's just so you turn left and right. So if you want to learn a racetrack, once you've got the a couple of hours of training, you can learn tracks and stuff like that. So it's easier when you get there, but that's not what's useful with the trainer. It's really what you do on the bike and what you do on the motorcycle. So like you can do, you can try stuff with your body and like when you're shifting, you got the clutch, you've got to match the clutch with the foot and prepare yourself there. But it's a bunch of stuff that's if you try to push yourself on the racetrack, you can cause a lot of like situation on the motorcycle on the trainer. You can do as many mistakes. It won't be a problem. So it's the fun part is you can push yourself to another limit on your what you do on the bike. So it's very good tools.
Absolutely, I would agree with that. And another tool that I've noticed that you have been, posting about and talking about, and you mentioned it in the opening here, is the MotoSpec software. Can you give us a kind of a rundown of what MotoSpec does and how that can help a rider?
Absolutely. It's a chassis measuring tool. So it's basically to understand how your bike react because you have trail, you have anti-squat, you've got swim arm and goal, you've got the spring rate and stuff like that. So when you've got data and you understand how your bike is handling, and that's really a powerful tool to understand how your bike is doing. You've got to have a bit of knowledge to understand what these numbers are doing and how you can improve on those. But knowing where your chassis is and how it works on the racetrack while you're accelerating, what it does when you're braking, what it does mid corner, your weight balance, because front and back, like every person's different. Like you cannot take one bike and take a setup, give it to another rider with 20 pound every year, depending on where that 20 pound is. Is it in his leg? Is it in upper body? It changes the whole dynamic of the bike. So every every bike and rider will need something different, and that's where MotorSpecs really helps you understand what your bike is doing instead of like throwing like, oh, I'm gonna add this here and changing the whole dynamic because when you're changing like gearing, for example, you change the whole bike. Like the bike's not squatting is the same. The spring rate will change because you're moving the axle in the swing arm. And since you're moving the axle in the swing arm, it changes the chassis. It changes the front rake as well. So it changes the whole bike. So when you're coming from one track to another and you change gearing, it changes a lot of stuff on your bike, and the bike doesn't feel right. So when you've got those tools, it's easier for us to get from one track to the other and have a bike that's very similar. So we know that we enjoy.
And you mentioned something really key there. And this past year, um, I would send you a message and say, "Hey, I'm going to change this," and you'd send me, some data in a screenshot, and I'd say, "Okay, Sebastian, I have no idea what I'm looking at. Can you put that into, terms that people would understand?" And you have the ability to decipher, that information and then present it to the rider and say, "Okay, changing this is going to potentially change this," right? So you're able to provide them with, you know, language that they understand. Not everybody is an expert when it comes to suspension and geometry. It's a very precise thing, right? Such a small change can have a huge impact. So
Exactly.
it's a very cool tool, and it's something that you're extremely proficient in, and I know you've spent a lot of time with it. I see, you've had your bike on there quite frequently to ensure that you're going in the right direction.
Not only this, but like this year, we're trying to work with a little bit more people. So I opened the motorspec to more people. So you're able to bring the bike and we can measure it and have a file with your bike, with your center of gravity. And from there, we can advise changes. We can make those changes, or you can ride your bike and from there, we can schedule appointment to discuss about what's the bike doing and where you want to bring your bike to, what you want to improve to. And it's so much easier to improve a chassis when you've got those data than when you don't. Otherwise, you're kind of blindsided and trying stuff, but it's always like it's our trial error. It's a guesswork. It's an educated guesswork usually, but with this, it's a lot more precise, and we can change. The only thing is when we change one stuff, usually there's like two or three stuff you gotta change to get the same bike feeling. So that's the only tricky part is you change a lot of stuff on the bike.
It's
But
it's pretty
good.
it's a pretty cool setup, and it's pretty cool that you have such a great wealth of knowledge and understanding of how all of those changes can affect the bike.
Yeah, I won't say I'm the best with motorspec. There's a lot of tuner that's a lot better than I am, but the good thing I think I have compared to other is I'm riding the bike and I understand the bike and I know what changes stuff. So it's easier for me to explain what how the bike feels and how you can improve on that. So that's the part where I think I I can difference myself.
Yeah, and I think another point to be made, and you mentioned it, you've spent a lot of time helping a lot of up and coming riders in the paddock. I know, there's been a season or two where you haven't, participated in a lot of races, but you've been there as, a crew chief, as a mentor. Can you talk about how important you think that is to our sport, mentoring and guiding up and coming riders?
For sure. I try to help as many people as I can. For sure, I'm limited in a weekend. It's difficult to get to me sometimes because I'm very busy. Like I'm on the racetrack, but I'm always to work on the bike as well. So it's kind of difficult to get to reach me in a race weekend. But whenever people come and ask us question, we try to answer as clearly and as honestly as we can as well. We really try to help people on the racetrack. Like even my competitors, like on the racetrack, they come and ask me stuff. I'm gonna tell them stuff so they can go faster. I don't want people to go slower on the racetrack. I want to like beat. I want to be the best because I'm the best, not because the other people are. Eh. Like I want people at the best when they're on the racetrack. So I really try to help everybody out there.
I would agree with that. I know we've, had some messages back and forth, and I have to thank John Bickle. He's the one that originally kept telling me persistently, Jordan, you have to go and talk to Seb. You have to go and talk to Seb. I'm like, no, I don't want to bug him. He's busy, he's focused, but I'm grateful that we made the connection. You've been extremely helpful in helping me develop as a rider. And I'm sure there are other riders under the ST Motorsport umbrella that you've also been able to help progress. Are there any plans for 2025? Whether you can say at this point or not, to take any other kind of riders under the ST Motorsport wing and continue development?
Uh, I always try to help an amateur rider get up the rank. So right now, Serge is going pro. So there's another opportunity, but I have my mechanics, which been helping me the last 2 years. He's probably gonna try racing, so we're gonna see if he's gonna do just a couple one or if he's gonna like uh, go all in into that. So I'm not sure yet. So 2025. Uh, I still have an amateur spot. I'm still helping Denis Giguère. He's gonna go pro, but he's not an amateur anymore. So for sure, there's spot for us to help somebody, yeah, for sure.
Now, would it be specific to somebody on that Suzuki brand, or are you open to anybody at this point?
It doesn't have to be Suzuki. ST Motorsport, I work on Yamahas, I work on Kawasaki's, Suzuki's. No, it's not a problem. For sure, it's easier to translate information when you have a lot of data on what you ride. So for us, we know Kawis a lot, we know Suzuki's a lot, for sure. We did road some Yamahas, not it's the Superbike, but we know what should be working and what should not. It's like a basic suspension adjustment. You've got like spring rate that's worked for that kind of guy and stuff like that. So a chassis is, I won't say it's about the same, but there's stuff like there's a range that should be working. So it's about the same. Yeah.
Sebastian, 2024 started off with Daytona. I don't know how much you really want to talk about Daytona. It might be a bit of a touchy subject. Um,
Oh,
is there anything in 2025? You're committed to the CSBK grounds. Is there anything else in 2025 you may explore?
uh, for sure, our main goal is CSBK. Win another championship for Suzuki is the goal for sure. Uh, what we would like to do is go do the Loudon Classic, which this year is not in the same time as the as CSBK because usually it's the same time, so we like there's no option for us to go. So this year it's not, and Loudon's pretty close to us. Payouts are pretty good. It's a pretty big race as well. It's not Motor America, but we can run the Bridgestone there. So for us, it's something that we'll probably try and see if we can go there.
I know we had some CSBK competitors last year. Like you say, it landed on the same weekend. So, some of them had to pick. So I believe it's the 102nd running of the Loudon Classic. So that should be pretty exciting to see. I wish you the best of luck there. We have Seb approximately 5 minutes on the recording. Did you want to talk about your sponsors at all or partnerships or anything that you kind of want to mention? We have 5 minutes to go over that.
Like sponsorship for 2025 are not still signed for sure. Uh, we're still we were still working out with our main sponsor that we had in the last few years. We've been working great with these guys, so we're not planning on changing them. For sure, we've got space for more. So for sure, Suzuki's not signed yet, but Suzuki has been a lot of help in the last 2 years. Took out performance as well. It's been great help. Big Old Racing always been there for me. So thanks a lot for him. Indo Exhaust as well, a very good exhaust brand we have in Canada. It's really nice for them to support racer. It's not only me. I'm like I don't have any more deals than mm, all the other racers. So, but it's still like it helps us a lot the racer. It's not only on the deals on the bike we get, but it's their service as well. When you need parts in rush, when you need repair and stuff like that, it's very easy to deal with them. So it's nice to have them as well on board. Other than that, well, that's pretty much it for now. So ST Motorsport for sure, but that's a given.
Yes, and ST Motorsport is a busy place. I saw a lot of track bikes, a lot of street bikes. What do you see? Is it a mix of both, or is it more one than the other?
It depends on the season. For sure, during the winter, I see a lot of track bike because this is where we do a lot of the big stuff. So, like chassis, engine, stuff like that. During the summer, I do a lot of like street bike maintenance, but I really focus on sport bike and sport touring bike. So it's very focused on these kind of bike.
Seb, to close this podcast out, episode 5 of At the Apex, you've been extremely helpful, and we've mentioned this to, the up and coming amateur riders. Is there a piece of advice that you would provide to someone who's maybe just starting out amateur this year or is contemplating starting out? Is there one piece of advice that you would have for them?
Uh, yeah, don't overspend on a bike. Try to ride. Like that's like spending money on a bike won't make the rider faster. And ultimately, each year, if you change bike, you crash the bike, what you keep is your riding ability. The money you spend on the bike, it's not gonna give you anything. So, and when you start, just try riding as much as you can. Yes, trick part will help you, but like it's not gonna help you be a better rider. So try just if you're limited in your budget and you don't know if should I put money on the bike or ride more, it's always ride more when you start. Just just go out and ride, but ride with an intention. Just don't ride around. Ride with an intention of learning something, trying something on your bike, changing stuff. See what kind of feeling you like on the bike, like what kind of tire pressure, what kind of like multi-trail and anti-squat. That it's a little bit more complicated, but what kind of gearing you like? Like there's a lot of stuff involved. It's not about having gearing six full out, eight straight away. That's the right gearing. It's not how it works. So try a lot of stuff. That's and ride a lot. That's what I suggest people.
That's a great piece of advice. Sebastien Tremblay, thank you so much for being a part of this episode. Again, we want to
Thank you,
try
John.
and bring, highlight the great people that contribute to our sport. So thank you so much for being a part of this, Sebastian. Episode 5 of At the Apex.
Awesome. Thank you, Jordan. Keep up the good work. I watch all of them.
Thank you so much, Seb. Best of luck this year. We will be cheering you on. ST
Awesome.
Motorsport. I will link all of their contact information in the video. Thanks, Seb. I
Awesome.
appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Jordan. Have a good day.
Bye. Bye bye. Episode number 5 of At the Apex. Done. Dusted. Thank you so much, Sebastien Tremblay, for taking time out of your day to spend with us and just scratch the surface on everything ST Motorsport, everything Sebastien Tremblay. If there's anybody else you want to see on the podcast, please reach out. Drop a comment. Let me know who you want to see. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.